This is NotADoc, NAD, Chris Barr, also known as, long time working through nutrition, a nutritional historian through 5 decades now. And I'm so excited about something new that is old. In fact, it's very old. Very, very old. In nutrition, minerals, or really the periodic table of elements, which form into various forms that we call minerals then, are the key to everything in the body, to the creation of enzymes as catalysts, to the makeup of what are called vitamins. It's these elemental substances that make all the difference in the world, and they are the missing link in nutrition. So people know about vitamins, they get excited about the new subject of the week, and there are some things that are popular now that were in this item that I started with that became unavailable for reasons we won't go into for purposes of this video, that are new again. The missing link is what I'm calling this now that I finally have it back again. I used to build everything I do upon this missing link. It is 78 different elements in a non-volcanic, organic form that is naturally chelated by nature. The reason for chelation that's become popular, even though it's barely better than non-chelated minerals, is something that man has done. It's man-made forms. Well, this is a naturally chelated substance that was discovered back in 1930. That's how old that it is, except it's much older than that, because it goes back anciently far beyond that in this ancient inland seabed. And the reason the non-volcanic portion is important is because all the other products like this that are volcanic in origin have had fire put to them, and we know what fire does to nutrition. It alters it, it changes it, it makes it less available. This I discovered back in the 70s when I was at a professional conference, and Dr. John Myers was there as a featured guest and was speaking on this mineral compound that at one time was called Mineral 72, and at that time was called Trace Min 74. And now not long after that, they found 78 elements and have reliably, repeatedly been able to find with every examination 78 of these elements that used to be in the soils. They used to be in the foods that people eat, and they're little or not at all available in the soils, so not in the foods that people have eaten for decades now. When I discovered this, I was at the beginning of my researches and my understanding and my learning, and Dr. Myers placed everything so well. If you don't know him, the legendary Myers cocktails came from Dr. John Myers, a Johns Hopkins graduate and MD since 1935 for some 50 years thereafter, working largely with nutrition. He himself was a legendary figure. Anyway, when I discovered this and was excited about what I heard, and I was already looking at the importance of minerals over vitamins and over every other nutritional substance, and the underlying key to making everything else work. So I was a healthy young man. I don't have the great story that all these people have that sell products and how they had this disease or that disease or were dying and they took whatever they took and came back to life again. I was actually a healthy individual. But I did have one issue, and that was I had always had this problem as long as I could remember. I didn't get up in the morning well. I had to have at least 8 hours sleep. And even after 8 hours sleep, I was slow to wake up in the morning, groggy, slow to get about. You hear people are morning people, but we make excuses for things. Oh, that's just the way I am. Well, it was the way that I was, but I had a very stereotypical American dietary with the worst of the worst. It's how I was raised, and it's how I was living at the time. And I was making changes when I started, and I still had this problem, which today I understand is a chromium deficiency and is a matter of liver issues, sometimes magnesium deficiency. There are reasons for this. So you're not supposed to be not a morning person. If you're not a morning person, it's because you have issues, nutritionally speaking. I had issues I didn't know about. So this was something that I just lived with. And when I took this home, and I took 4 that day, the next morning I woke up immediately. My eyes opened, I jumped out of bed, I was ready to go, and I noticed it only because it never happened. Now, I didn't tie it to the magic pills of the previous day that I'd learned about and had just taken, but I noted it because it never happened. And as I continued taking my 4 a day, the second day, the same thing happened. I woke up in the morning, my eyes opened right up, I got out of bed, and I went right to living and working and going about my day. Well, the third day was the same thing, and that's when it first struck me. This is 3 days in a row. What could it be, that mineral product? And since then, of course, I've learned so much more. And I used to build everything around this. And now I have this empty bottle. After being missing for 10 years, it's back available again. And this is the missing link in nutrition. You know, there are many things today that are popular that back when I started, people barely knew anything at all about, including chromium. Well, frankly, they still don't know much about chromium today. Most of what people think they know about chromium is wrong. But chromium is the single most important nutrient discovered to date, though very few know very much about it. And most of what those few know or think they know is wrong. Okay. Well, this missing link elemental product, organic, naturally chelated by nature itself, it's the richest source of organic bioavailable chromium in all of nature. So that was one of the keys, which I was just beginning to learn when I first took this product back in the 70s. Well, also popular today is organic sulfur has become real popular. Well, this product is rich in naturally occurring organic sulfur. It also has an incredible potassium to sodium ratio. You know, it's not high in potassium, although it's higher than most foods are in potassium, but the ratio of potassium to sodium in natural, organic, naturally chelated forms is amazing. And then it's also very rich in magnesium. So it's perfect for our day, even though it's been literally lying there in the earth for thousands of years, uncounted thousands of years. So I used to build everything around this. In fact, for many years, I am the king of chromium, and people would ask me, well, if I only took one pill, I don't want to take a bunch of stuff, what would it be? I would tell them, not chromium, which is what they would expect, but I would tell them this, what I'm now calling the missing link. It is the missing link, and that's why I'm going to call it that, now that I finally have it back again. Because it's rich in 78 different minerals, very closely mimicking the same ratio for most of them that they are found in the human body. It's like it was placed there for this day of soil erosion, of soil removal, of processing of nutrients out of the foods. Something else that's become popular in this day in the last few years, fulvic acid and humic acid. Well, this is also rich in fulvic acid and humic acid. Many of the things that today are popular were there with this since it was discovered in 1930. In fact, that's a very amusing story how it was discovered. It was a couple of geologists, and each of them had a burro, or an ass if you will, and they were surveying an area for the railroad and the silver mines that were basically mined out about that time. And they woke up in the morning and one of the burros was gone. So they noticed some tracks. They said, well, let's see we'll let the other one loose. That one should find its buddy. And after following for a while, sure enough, the burro found the other one, and they had to laugh because it had its head sunk down on the ground and it was eating this dirt, this mound that it was on. So they had a good laugh, and they let the other one go, and it went up there with its buddy and started doing the same thing. So they had a kind of a good laugh. I mean, you can imagine, look at those dumb asses up there eating the dirt. But it caught their attention. You know, that was right 1930, they were scientists, and there were growing interest in this new field of nutrition, which was mostly about vitamins, but minerals were known to be important, but they didn't know a lot about them. So they thought, well, maybe there's something to this dirt since they're eating it. So they packed some out with them, and they began taking it and noticed that they felt better taking a little bit of this every day. So they began selling it initially as an arthritis liniment because one of them had some arthritic pain issues and noted that they lessened over a period of weeks of taking this. And the FDA came along in the early 30s and took all of those preparations off the marketplace. So they repackaged it as a mineral supplement. And that's how it was sold and has been sold with little fanfare, even though it's an astounding compound. And what it does is it literally makes everything else work better, because these 78 elements are the missing link in the soils, therefore in the foods, and in the nutrition of Americans, and frankly for those around the world. There is no other compound like this. Oh, there are bentonite clays, and there are saltwater compounds from the Great Salt Lake or from the ocean, or other places where they have found volcanic or different soil compounds, but none of them have 78 elements. None of them have the organic, naturally chelated nature that this one has. And this one is astounding, and I'm so happy to have it back. The missing link, available shortly. In fact, by the time you see this video, I'll probably have the labels finished, and on the empty bottle here, we'll likely have this covered by the time you see this, with the missing link. Something that everybody should be taking, no matter what you're taking. And no, I wouldn't recommend that you only take this and nothing else. But if you only took one item, this would address more needs and issues in your body than any other one item would. But the beauty of it, and what I'm so excited is about adding it to the successful protocols that I have had for so many ills that people have, literally ills that they have. Because this made them work better when I had it. And now I have it back again. So this is NotADoc, excited to announce the missing link is back. So look it up, choose to be healthy. You'll find more and more availability, and we're looking forward to this growing as people find out how much better they can be, how much better they can feel with the missing link restored for their health. This is NotADoc. Thanks for watching and listening, and get started with the missing link.